When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine birthday greet?
Good afternoon. My name is John Lutz. I'm the Executive Director of Elder Services of Berkshire County, and this is Berkshire Senior TV. Today we're going to talk about all things having to do with weatherization, getting ready for winter, fuel assistance, eligibility, and we've got a cast of thousands here to work with us, and we're going to have them go down and introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about each program, and then we'll see if we have some questions and answers from them. So I'll start here, and Joan, you can start with introductions.
Hi, thanks for having me. Joan Chapman Bartlett, Weatherization Director, Berkshire Community Action Council, BCAC.
And thank you for having me. I'm Ed Rutledge from the Center for Ecotechnology.
I'm Jorge Orin. I'm one of the Eco Fellows from the Center for Ecotechnology.
I'm Laura Feeks, and I'm one of the Information and Referral Specialists at Elder Services.
And why don't we work our way back? So Laura, you can start with just talking a little bit about what we might have and the kinds of things that people might call Elder Services about as far as getting ready for winter or fuel assistance, that type of thing.
Well, mostly people will call us and say that they're having some trouble paying for their fuel oil, usually. And so the first thing we always tell people is to call Berkshire Community Action Council because they're the main hub for fuel assistance. We also will talk to them about doing whether it's some type of weatherization or call one of these agencies to help with energy efficiency steps that they can take to kind of get ahead of winter before things become a problem. And then we have a list of resources of different funds that people can access. We try to get people to make a plan before the winter starts so they don't get in trouble when there's a big snowstorm on a weekend when nobody's open, but they have a plan in place and phone numbers to call in case they need some help.
And maybe Ed and Jorge, if you want to talk about the kinds of programs that you guys have.
Yeah, so the Center for Ecotechnology works as a hub for information and resources, and one of the programs that we work with is Mass Energy, and one of the best parts of that program is a free home energy assessment, and an energy specialist would go to your home and first of all check everything around the house to see any air leakages, what is your need for insulation. Your light bulbs would be replaced for energy efficient light bulbs, LEDs. Also, some of the water fixtures would be replaced for low flow, and some other free home savings.
Yep. And I would, just for people who aren't too familiar with the Center for Ecotechnology, we're a nonprofit organization that's been working in Western Mass for over 40 years, started right here in Pittsfield in 1976 when the energy audit program was a new thing. We really helped get that off the ground back in those days. And we also do a lot of community outreach to let people know what's available to them. We are available to speak at events and to do presentations. We've done a lot for seniors. We have a program we roughly call Senior Saving Energy, where we'll talk to people about some simple do-it-yourself things they can do, inexpensive options that a lot of people can do on their own, as well as let them know what's available as far as the energy programs and that we participate in, like Mass Save.
Okay. Joan?
So I'm the Weatherization Director, as I said, and BCAC is the designated anti-poverty agency in Berkshire County. And we're mandated to assist those in the low-income bracket. For instance, a family of 4, if they earn $66,115 would be eligible for fuel assistance, weatherization, and other programs that are available through BCAC. So if you keep in mind, family of four, $66,115. Many times people think that if they're working, they're not eligible for our services. But our primary services are fuel assistance, which is assisting folks with their fuel costs. To piggybacking on that, we have weatherization services. Everyone who's on fuel assistance, we try to offer them an energy assessment to try to extend the fuel assistance dollars. And we do that by offering what we call our baseload energy audit. We go into the home and assess for insulation in the walls, attic, basement. We change out light bulbs. There's a 75% savings changing out the LEDs with the old incandescent lights. We also make referrals to agencies when we see things that the clients may need, some other services, say elder services or the food pantry. So once we've done the base load initial audit, we would make a referral to our weatherization department. They go in and do a very in-depth assessment looking at health and safety, weatherization savings, and make recommendations which we would pass on to a licensed and insured contractor, and that contractor would make the improvements, and once that's done, we inspect the work, and the clients see substantial savings. Typically, weatherization can save anywhere from 25 to 30% on their fuel bill. So by weatherizing a home, we're extending that fuel assistance money, and also targeting to families with children, because children who are cold don't learn as well, don't perform as well, aren't healthy. So we're those are the elders, handicap, children, those with disabilities are those that we really try to assist.
Now, are those two programs kind of joined? I mean, to be eligible for fuel assistance, must you go through the weatherization process? I mean, or is one dependent upon the other, I guess, just for people to understand that you can't just come for fuel assistance, but you have to do both.
There are two ways to go through the weatherization. One is to be on the discount rate through the utility. We are very fortunate in Massachusetts to have a tremendous relationship with the utilities. In our case, Berkshire Gas, Eversource, and National Grid. And so if they're on the discounted rate through the utility, they can get weatherization services. Of course, we're really trying to push the fuel assistance, because if they're eligible for the discount rate, then typically they would be eligible for fuel assistance. So typically, though, if someone comes in for fuel assistance, which right now we're taking applications, we would, once they're determined eligible, they get referred directly to weatherization. So we really try to make it a
again, back to stretching those dollars as far as you can. So, Ed, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about Mass Saves.
Sure. The Mass Save program offers similar benefits as the weatherization program through the Berkshire Community Action, but it's for people who aren't necessarily on a low-income rate or fuel assistance. But there's also some income guidelines, so your benefits can actually be better depending on what your income is. So once you get into the intake system with Mass Save, they'll determine what your benefits may be. Everyone can get a free home energy assessment as the kind of the baseline, where an energy specialist comes in and does the whole soup to nuts, basement to attic inspection of the house. They check all of your combustion systems for safety. They'll do combustion testing of your heating system, your hot water system, and make sure that those are up to good working order. And that's also important when they look further down the road at weatherizing the house, because you can't tighten up a house if there's any air quality problems caused by poor combustion, moisture problems, or even asbestos might be a problem. And then they also give all the freebies that Jorge mentioned, the LED lights, smart power strips to control your appliances better, and water-saving fixtures. And a programmable thermostat is available at the time of the audit if you don't have one, or they'll give you information on getting one of the new Wi-Fi controlled smart thermostats at a very deep discount. The air sealing, they'll do all the paperwork for you too. They'll give you, they'll basically spec out any work that needs to be done as far as air sealing goes, which involves finding the hidden air leaks in the house and then using the appropriate material to seal them up, whether it's weather strip, foam insulation, caulking, door sweeps, and things of that nature. And they'll give you all the paperwork that you need to get going on that if that's something you're interested in pursuing, and that's completely free. A contractor you'll be connected with a contractor that's vetted through the program, and then they'll make arrangements to come and do the work at no cost. If the house needs insulation blown in, or other kinds of insulation, not always just blown in, but the benefits can be 75% of the total cost or up to 90% of the total cost. Again, it's income driven. And they will pay for, there's somebody, again, it's a little bit contingent upon who your utility is. Depending on the utility, there may not be a cap on how much the total job costs, or there may be a cap of $2,000 or $3,000, which most houses fall into. So the bottom line is you can get several $1,000s worth of work done for a couple of $100 in most cases, or a few $100, and plus a bunch of free stuff. And then there's sounds like one of these too good to be true things, but wait, there's more. There's rebates. There's a zero interest loan. Maybe Jorge could speak to that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you need to change your heating equipment or water heating system, you can get this zero heat loan where you can, with the savings that you generate from those more efficient appliances, you can pay back that loan in whatever time period that you get the loan for. So it's a very good tool if you want to make some major changes in your heating systems, but do not want to getting debt and stuff like that.
So are the loans from, who are the loans from? Are they from the utility company, or who are you actually borrowing the money from?
You go to a bank.
Okay. So it's a private.
There's banks that are on a list of approved lenders
that are
participating in the program.
Okay.
But you'll get all the paperwork at your energy assessment, and you take that to the bank, and then they'll approve you for the loan. It's up to 7 years at zero interest, and a total of $25,000 I think is available, and it can cover things like heating systems, high efficiency heating or cooling or hot water systems, including a solar thermal hot water system, and also new windows, which is not usually the first line of defense in tightening up a house because they're expensive and the payback is fairly long. But if you need windows, you can get really good Energy Star windows through the heat loan.
Okay. And Laura, I know for us, I think as you alluded to, we don't necessarily provide, but we make a lot of good referrals. When we start getting phone calls, when the weather starts getting cold, what are the top couple things that we are trying to assist people either to get to services, or what services do we are referring them to, or what's those the top couple things that we are typically trying to help people with?
Well, we'll always ask when somebody calls if they've already applied for fuel assistance at BCAC, because a lot of the emergency funds that are available in Berkshire County, that's the question they're going to ask, because they're funds of last resort. So they want to make sure that you've accessed money that's available to you. But there are people who will be a little bit over income for BCAC, and for those people, they may be eligible for the Good Neighbor Fund, which is a statewide program. And here it's administered through the Salvation Army, so we refer those people to the Salvation Army to apply for that fund. If somebody has applied for BCAC and used up their money already, because it depends on how cold a winter we have. Sometimes when we have a really cold winter, by the end of December, beginning of January, people have already used up their fuel assistance through BCAC. If people live in the Pittsfield area, the Pittsfield Area Council of Congregations has an emergency fuel fund, and that's also administered by the Salvation Army. So we would refer people to the Salvation Army for that. If there's a veteran in the household, Veteran Services provides some fuel assistance for low-income veterans through it's called a Chapter 115 benefit. So we would refer people to their local Veteran Services officer. Elder Services does have an emergency fund for people 60 and over who have already used up their BCAC, and they find themselves in a tough spot, which is generally if they have no other resources and their oil tank is almost empty, then we may have funds available to provide a one-time delivery of 100 gallons of oil. And people also, sometimes people will run into trouble over a weekend, and then people can always, if it's a weekend and the other agencies are closed, elders can always call the Elder Abuse Hotline, which is a 24 hours, 7 days a week hotline, toll-free hotline number, and they can put people in touch with Berkshire Elder Protective Services, which, and they can help see if they can get the heat back on over the weekend. And I did want to mention, with BCAC, you can heat with multiple different kinds of sources, so you don't just have to have heat with oil, but BCAC provides fuel assistance with pellet stove, you have a wood pellet stove, gas, propane, electric. So if you think because you're heating with a wood stove you can't get help, then there is help available through BCAC.
And Joan, you mentioned that, and I think Laura mentioned too, that depending on the weather, funds are used up more or less. So when a person is deemed eligible and say they come and do the assessment and they're going to get fuel assistance through BCAC, are they given a certain amount? Are they given something every month? How does it, if I'm eligible and I get the benefit, what does that mean kind of on a month-to-month basis to me?
Yeah. My level of expertise in fuel assistance is not great, but my understanding is that it's based on consumption.
Okay.
So based on the amount of fuel used determines, and I suspect family size would determine. These are rates that are set by the state.
Okay.
Though.
About how much assistance and how much?
That they're all set by the state.
Because you guys are the designated distribution point of these funds, and there's a formula and those kinds of things. Okay.
And the number, by the way, is 413-445-4503. That's the fuel assistance number. That's the number to call. Another program that is very active this time of year is the Heating System Repair and Replacement Program. And Julie Cromer assists us in that program and overseeing the many, many repairs that are made and no heat calls that we'll get. Typically, a typical day, we could have as many as 10 to 15 folks in Berkshire County that are without heat. And so she works diligently to get get in touch with the contractor and get them get the heat back on. We also replace heating systems that have died. I believe we replaced almost 100 last year. And so we have different priorities because we can't replace every system, but we really emphasize the folks that have no heat, and then those that are very, very inefficient, and if we're having to put a lot of money into a repair,
Right.
it's better to replace it. So
Right.
we're really concentrating on those due to lack of funding. But that's the program to call again for fuel assistance, 445-4503.
Ed, I know you and Jorge, how do you go about making sure people, because it's not just in the wintertime, I know, how do you kind of work to make sure there's the outreach is there and people are aware of these services that are available?
Mm-hmm. Well, the utilities do a great job of letting people know. They send out a lot of information in people's bills and mailers. We do a lot of community outreach year-round. We do informational tabling all over the region. We do presentations for a lot of different groups, whether it's it could be a corporate group or a community gathering of some sort, and we let people know what's going on. We can sign people up for some energy assessments if they're a Berkshire Gas customer, because we partner directly with Berkshire Gas to do their home program, so we can get people into the intake right away. So yeah, it's interesting because the program's been around a long time, but I'm always amazed because we still run into people who have never heard of it, who've never had an audit, and who really need one. So it's important to get the message out. And one thing I would mention is just like with making a plan and making sure you're prepared for the winters, to get involved with the Mass Save program sooner rather than later. Always when we're out in the summer doing tabling or presentations, to say sign up now, because if you wait until you get that first whopping bill, then there's going to be a wait probably, almost definitely. And the other thing I just wanted to mention briefly was that it's not just for homeowners, and it's for renters, it's for anybody who pays a utility bill, and it's also there's different kinds of programs, but if it's a building that has 1 to 4 units in it, it's just a regular residential building, and there's also benefits for landlords that change the kind of the scope of the program. If it's more than 4 units, 5 plus, then it falls into a multifamily program, which is a little different. And if it's a condominium or something like that, there's a whole nother program that's available. But you can go to masssave.com and get all the information and get into the system there, or you can get in touch with us at the Center for Ecotechnology, cetonline.org, and we can help you with that as well.
Now, you had mentioned that CET was founded here in Pittsfield 40 years ago. We're in our 42nd year, so we're about the same as you guys. But just if you can, maybe what are the things you think about that have changed over that period of time? Certainly it's a period of time when energy savings and energy attention has really become to the forefront. And just be curious kind of what you guys have seen as an organization, what you were doing then and maybe what you're doing now, or that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about CET is that it's always been kind of in the innovation space, where we were the first to do these kinds of home energy audits in the region, and that was kind of our bread and butter for a long time. And then we moved into other work, particularly in the realm of waste reduction. We opened up a store in Springfield, which is now the largest building materials reuse store in the region, Eco Building Bargains, where we keep tons of materials out of the landfill that normally would have been disposed of but are perfectly good. Everything from, we say you can go into the store and buy everything you need to build a house, basically. Pretty close anyway. Definitely to do a lot of remodeling and renovations, kitchens. And so waste reduction has been an important change in our mission, and food waste in particular. We helped drive the organic waste ban that was implemented in Massachusetts in 2014, which requires any business or institution that generates more than a ton of organic waste a week to divert it from the landfill. And we help set that up, and we help people cooperate with that and get into that program and reduce their waste. And now we're moving into we're really building on that. We've moved a lot. We do a lot in the commercial energy sphere with the utilities, helping larger buildings than houses become more energy efficient, and we're moving into into some new areas. In fact, we're working with Berkshire Community Action on a pilot program that's going to be coming up, and there's a lot of changes. It's a really exciting time in the business right now because there's a lot of challenges for the national situation in particular, but we're finding that there's ways that we can work in the grassroots to really get things done in an innovative way and to keep moving forward, because it's really critical for our future.
And something noteworthy is that Massachusetts is the #1 state on energy efficiency, and it's because these kind of programs and the participation of the public, so we try to keep that movement going on.
Now, when you say the #1 state, so on a kind of on a per capita basis, or how is that measured, or how do we? I mean, I want to congratulate Massachusetts, but just want to understand that a little better.
I believe it's focused on the percentage of reduction on an average basis of the homes and businesses. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I just want to thank Laura and Jorge and Ed and Joan, BCAC, Center for Ecological Technology, and Elder Services of Berkshire County for being part of this. We try and do this every year. We try and make sure people know where opportunities are at to get assistance for programs for both short-term and long-term. We hope they kind of get the immediate assistance and make the long-term changes, but we also know sometimes they need an emergency that often we work with the same folks. And I would guess there are people that all of us have worked with over the time, even in the same season, that we probably have all worked with together. So I want to appreciate you all for taking time to come here today. It's warm and sunny today, but we know that's going to change soon. So thank you very much for watching Berkshire Senior TV, and we'll see you next month.
Out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?